And welcome back to Atreyu News. Wow, look what happened to Starbucks after their pledge to hire 10,000 refugees. Have we seen so many times before? If you would go against Trump, 62 million people. That is a ton of supporters. You want to go against that. It's not going to be so good for you in the stock market as it's shown with Macy's and others. Starbucks is no different. Starbucks brand has taken a beating since the company announced plans to hire 10,000 refugees worldwide in the next 5 years in response to Donald Trump's executive order intended to prevent refugees from entering the United States. The coffee giant consumer perception levels have fallen by 2/3 since late January. 2/3. That is brutal, according to the YouGov Brand Index. The perception tracker measures if respondents have heard anything about the brand in the last 2 weeks through advertising, news, or word of mouth. Was it positive or negative? In Starbucks' case, perception is still overall positive, but significantly lower than it was prior to CEO Howard Schultz published a public letter outlining the company's plans to give refugees jobs. Well, from my personal opinion, I never get coffee from there or anything, but after this I certainly won't. We are living in an unprecedented time, one in which we are witness to the conscience of our country and the promise of the American dream being called into question, CEO Howard Schultz wrote in a letter to Starbucks employees about the plan. The graphics below, blah blah blah. Yeah, well, it looks good on you, and it's just going to continue to tank. They should double down and say they're going to accept 30,000. Watch the stock drop even lower. Look what we just learned about Christie and maybe the end of his political career. I remember when he was on Trump's cabinet and then he was quickly removed and cracks started to show within him. According to reports, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie may be considering leaving politics for a career in sports broadcasting. Imagine that. Mark Chernoff, Vice President of CBS Radio New York and Program Director of an AM station, has said that Governor Chris Christie is among plenty of candidates under consideration to replace Francesca, the New Jersey Records reports. I would certainly at least want to consider him, Chernoff said. If he's interested and we're interested, it's worth pursuing. After Chris Christie lost the nomination on the Republican ticket for president, did not get selected as Donald Trump's vice president, and later didn't land a top role in Trump's White House staff, Christie said he doesn't see a future for himself in Washington. Yeah, well, it's probably better off before we find anything else out about you. Just in, multiple arrests made at Dakota Access Pipeline protest. At least 9 arrests as authorities move in Dakota Access Pipeline protest camp after some refuse to leave. Authorities have ended negotiations with the remaining protesters of the Dakota Access Pipeline and have moved into camp after some occupiers refused to leave, despite an evacuation order set by the state and federal authorities. Some inside the camp were granted ceremonial arrests, authorities said, which involves them giving themselves up voluntarily to be peacefully arrested. Police used plastic zip ties to restrain the protesters who surrendered on the street. At least 9 people who did not surrender voluntarily have been arrested thus far after the evacuation deadline expired, authorities said in a briefing Wednesday afternoon, adding that they estimate about 50 to 75 people remain in the camp currently. I see what these people are doing, and like I kind of get it and everything. However, they're polluting the earth in which they stand to protest on, number one. And number two, we have to rebuild America, folks. It's time to move on. Get out of the way.